Hey you guys, welcome aboard Crab Central Station. My name is Darcy, and in today's video, we are going to talk about lights for your hermit crab tank. Let's get started. Hey guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. And as you're watching this video, if you learned something new, comment down below. We would love to hear it. All right, let's get started. First thing I want to talk about is what lights you should not use. The second thing we're going to cover in this video is the different types of lights that are safe for your hermit crabs. And the last thing we're going to cover is how do you use the lights? How often should you use them? And that sort of thing. So starting off with what not to use. It's very common to use heat lamps for a lot of reptiles, and oftentimes you'll even see heat lamps in or near the hermit crab section at pet stores. However, it is not a good source of lighting for your hermit crab. So the heat from the bulb actually zaps all of your humidity, maybe not all of it, a lot of your humidity out from your tank while creating hot spots on the sand, which can harm your hermit crabs. So neither of those things are good for your hermit crabs, and so that's not the type of light that you want to use on a daily basis or at all for that matter. Also, your tank needs to be completely sealed in order to keep the heat and humidity in, and with a heat lamp you have to have an open top for that lamp to actually work. So there's really just no good situation for a heat lamp when you pair it with hermit crabs. There are 5 different types of lighting that are all beneficial for hermit crabs and safe to use. And we're going to cover all 5 of those in this video. We're going to start out with one that is probably debated the most within the hermit crab community. And so we'll just throw it out there. It's UVB lighting. So it is mimicking the sun by emitting ultraviolet rays, which are beneficial to a lot of different animals. Guys, we are going to link some science info below this video. You can read in depth all about UV and UVB rays and how they work in animals and people. And so if you're interested in that, please take a look at it. But for our purposes in this video, we're just telling you that UVB lighting is safe for your hermit crabs, but it is not necessary. So you will see in the science below that there's not been enough science on crustaceans utilizing UVB rays to know whether or not it is needed. So we know that they can break down calcium. It's something that's readily available to them on the beach. They have molt sacks where they carry all these nutrients to help them through molt process. And so there just hasn't been enough studies on crustaceans specifically to say for sure that they need a UVB light for health purposes. Now, a lot of home studies going on, including right here in our crab room. We have a UVB light right here in this tank above me. It's the only tank in our crab room with a UVB light, and that's because we're just trying to gather some data on whether or not our crabs spend more time in that tank, if they're up by the light very often, if it depends on the species of crab that likes to tend to kind of hang out in that area, and so forth. So we'll get back to you guys on that data as we collect it. Our field is pretty relatively new still, and so I wouldn't say we have enough information to give you, any kind of definite answer on that yet. Some things that you want to keep in mind if you do go this route is that UVB lights have to be installed inside the tank because the UVB ray itself will not penetrate through the glass top of your tank. Also, that means because our hermit crabs like to climb, they can get up to that light, which also can be dangerous. So you have to install in a way that is safe for the hermit crabs. Also, something to keep in mind is that UVB light bulbs need to be replaced periodically, usually every 6 months, although I've started to see some companies producing UVB light bulbs that are lasting a year. So if this is the route you choose to go, you need to make sure to read on your packaging how often you're supposed to replace that bulb. Otherwise, it's just going to turn into a light bulb in your tank and it's not actually emitting those UVB rays after that expired date, which is not bad because it's still a light in your tank and it's fine. But if you're wanting the benefits of the UVB ray itself, you will have to change out that bulb periodically. They can be pretty expensive, though. That's something else that you might want to keep in mind if this is the route that you're wanting to go. The second type of light that I want to talk about follows UVB perfectly, and that is the natural sunlight that comes in through our windows in our homes. So if your tank happens to be in a room of your house, close to a window or where it's receiving light from a window, you are able to use that as your daily light for your hermit crabs. It's perfectly safe and that's enough light for them. However, if you are thinking that is also mimicking the actual sunlight and that they are getting those UVB rays, that is not true because UVB cannot penetrate through glass. So it's not actually coming through your window, nor is it going into the tank itself. So there's nothing wrong with that. And like we said before, they don't necessarily need UVB rays to be thriving. And so it's not harming them to not have that. And it is perfectly safe to go ahead and use your natural light from your window if your tank is able to receive that. For us, we have no windows in this room, and so we have to create artificial light in a different way. But that is definitely a very inexpensive option to think about. The third type of lighting I want to talk about is probably the most widely used lighting for hermit crabs, and that is LED. So LED lighting can come in your basic aquarium hood lights. Sometimes they are built into the aquarium hood itself. You can buy them separately in all kinds of different sizes. What we love about LEDs, you guys, is first of all, they are full spectrum lighting. They're very bright. They mimic a natural light for your hermit crabs. They last a very long time. They're affordable and they do not emit any heat because they don't require any type of heating up of a filament to produce light. So those are all great benefits for your budget and for your hermit crabs. And I can tell you guys, we have LED lights in all of our tanks except for the one that has a UVB that we're doing for scientific research. And our crabs love the bright lights of our LEDs. So we keep them on the white-blue spectrum at the highest brightness. And we have noticed that the activity of our crabs is much higher when they have a bright lit up tank during the day. In fact, when we film in here and we have extra lights, they are even more active. So I really do think that hermit crabs use those cycles of light and dark to help give them messages about behavior, just like they would in nature. So I would definitely recommend LED. We will put a link in the description below to the exact type of aquarium lighting that we use here in the crab room. The fourth type of light we're going to talk about in this video is fluorescent lighting. Fluorescent lights have been around for a very long time. You still see them in schools, in stores, and things like that. I do think LEDs will replace them before too long, but they are safe for your hermit crabs. Something that's nice about them is they do often come in large fixtures or long fixtures that are affordable. And so if you have a particularly long tank, it might be a good option for you. They're readily available.
I buy them from Home Depot.
You can find them pretty easily.
I buy them from Home Depot.
And like I said, inexpensively.
I buy them from Home Depot.
So just something to keep in mind if you do go this route with fluorescent lighting is that they do emit some heat. It's just a byproduct of that type of lighting. It's nothing like a heat lamp, which we talked about in the beginning of the video, being something you do not want to use, right? The purpose of a heat lamp is to radiate heat. That's what that bulb is all about. Fluorescent lighting doesn't radiate heat. It's just a byproduct of that type of light. And so I would suggest, if you want to use fluorescent lighting, that you bring it up above your tank in some way, maybe hang it by a chain from your ceiling, kind of like a shop light idea, just because if it's sitting directly on your glass of your tank, it could potentially crack it over time. Also, it does have a little bit of an off-putting of heat, and so it'd be better to just lift that up and have some airflow away from your tank, which would be beneficial. But it is safe and it definitely could work for lighting your crab habitat. And the fifth type of lighting is one that you have all around you in your house, and that's incandescent light bulbs, which we've been using in our light fixtures and desk lamps and things like that for a really long time. So if you have a desk lamp next to your crab habitat, you can use that as the lighting for your tank. or an overhead light in the room your tank is in, if you wanted to leave that on, would also work for lighting your crab habitat. Again, that does emit some heat because the way an incandescent bulb works is by actually heating up a filament that then puts off light. And so I would not want to set that directly on a glass tank for a long period of time. Again, you could possibly crack your glass tank. Also, it is going to emit, like the fluorescent light, a little bit of heat into your crab habitat. So it's best to not lay that directly on your glass lid, but to have it hanging over the top, or use, like I said, a desk lamp or a ceiling light or something like that. But again, incandescent lighting is absolutely safe for your hermit crabs. The last thing that I want to cover with you guys in this video, which has everything to do with lighting your hermit crab tank, is how often do they need the light? So hermit crabs are naturally nocturnal. We do want to think about what they experience in their natural environment because they're wild caught animals. And so when you think of that, they do have a consistent 12-hour day cycle and a 12-hour night cycle in nature. And those times of day and night actually send them different cues through their metabolic processes, through their behaviors, and that sort of thing. So we don't want to change that. We want to continue that natural circadian rhythm, and we want to keep their days and their nights, and we want to give them those full 12 hours. The best way, the easiest way to do that is to buy a timer. You guys, we will put a link in the description below. These are super affordable.
I buy them from Hermit Depot.
Easy to use, easy to locate.
I buy them from Hermit Depot.
And man, they make your life so much easier. So you just plug your light fixture into the timer and put your timer into your outlet. Set it for whatever hour in the morning you want your lights to come on. I would suggest as natural as possible, so 7 a.m., 8 a.m., something like that. And then you set the time when you want them to go off, which would be 12 hours later, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., something like that, depending on where you guys live, your sunup and your sunset and that sort of thing. So the next thing that we want to talk about is nighttime lights, because I know, especially if you decide to use LEDs, they come with the full spectrum of lighting, right? So you can have some really cool colors at night, green and violet, red, blue, and all that. And it does look really cool in your crab habitat at night, I will admit. However, it is not good for your hermit crabs to have colored lights on during their nighttime cycle. Like I said, it's a circadian rhythm thing. They need to have that full night cycle. So if you want to use your colored lights for, 10, 15, 20 minutes of viewing them in the evening, that's totally fine. But when you get ready to go to bed, when you're not there at the tank watching them in the evening, go ahead and have complete darkness and let your hermit crabs actually have their 12-hour night cycle. It will help them behave more like hermit crabs. It will help them do all the sciencey things that their bodies need to be doing throughout those two different processes of day and night. Okay, I hope this video helps you guys to know what type of lighting is best for your hermit crabs, gives you some things to think about and which of those options might be best for your personal situation, and help you just feel secure in knowing that you've picked the right thing and you're doing the right thing. Guys, check out the descriptions below for all of those things that we told you we would link. As always, if you have questions or you're having any kind of trouble, DM us on Instagram or Facebook, or right here on YouTube. You can comment down below, and we are always happy to help you guys and answer your questions and troubleshoot whatever it is that's going on in your crab habitat. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel, you guys. Click the bell so that you can be notified when we release new content. Follow us on all of our social medias. We truly appreciate all of you and your support of our channel. And until the next time, take care and happy crabbing. Bye, you guys.